Hello. I am Perez Hilton, and you are watching AntiNews. AntiNews, for those of you who are soulless, catty, ginger shills, that is the podcast for you and me.
All right. We are back. We are back with the anti-news, and you will be sorely pleased to see, if you're watching right now, that I am not alone this week, and Craig has not yet been fired. Craig, how are you?
I am fantastic now that I got all my shit together.
It's been a busy couple of weeks for everyone, but some of us still show up when things need to be done.
You failed to mention the time that I showed up and waited, and you're like, "Yep, I'm on my way," and so I waited longer, and you're like, "Okay, almost there."
assume
and I
you
waited, and you're like, "Oh, by the way."
Hey, the listeners already know about this because they showed up to listen to last week's episode.
No,
Did you?
I didn't do that.
Exactly.
No, because I wasn't on it. So why would I listen to it?
You only listen to myself. That was my favorite episode ever, and everybody has agreed. All the comments on YouTube, everybody's like, man, do not bring that asshat back on here. He's dragging the show way down. And while I was waiting on you to be here tonight, I posted a poll in the forum saying that I was impatiently waiting around for Craig to come record the anti-news, and the two options in the poll were fire Craig or continue to let Craig keep ruining everything always. And you're
How
muted.
Is that poll going out?
See?
I'm not muted.
See?
I'm not muted.
Case in point.
I'm going to start pointing out. I'm going to make a list of every time you screw me over. And
it's never happened.
Then I'm going to. Yeah, right. I just mentioned one time when I waited like 4 hours for this. Like, yeah, we'll do it early in the afternoon.
Anyway, welcome to the Anti-News. If you're new here, this is the place where we pull up news headlines and pretend like we know what we're talking about while we make fun of things. And it's a jolly good old time where we just keep you informed on what's supposedly happening in the world and all the things that you really don't care about. But you might care about them if they are presented in a delightfully, twistedly dark fashion that we... that is our specialty here. So I want to just say, before we get into anything, I mean, typically we have witty banter, or witless banter here at the top, but this news headline that I just pulled up seems too good to wait on. I want to kick it off with a nice cheery bang and say, Chinese scientist who created CRISPR babies could face the death penalty. Fellow geneticists warn. All right, off to a great start.
CRISPR babies.
You know about CRISPR babies, right?
No. What in God's green earth is CRISPR babies?
It's like genetically modified humans. Basically like custom made babies.
Latte babies.
Made to order babies, I suppose you could say.
Burger King babies.
Yeah, so I just want to jump into that because, I've been dealing with a lot of shit this week, and nothing cheers me up more than listening or reading about scientists facing the death penalty for making custom babies. But a British geneticist is worried that Jian Kui, the Chinese scientist responsible for
you need to work on your Chinese name pronunciation.
I'm just going to start making up very racist sounding names for these Chinese people. We start over. A British geneticist is worried that Ching Chong, the Chinese scientist responsible for the birth of genetically modified human twins, could face the death penalty for corruption and bribery charges. Oh, so it's not
Before you go on,
Ah.
I just wanted to point out something completely unrelated. Well, it's kind of related to your Ching Chong there. In my every start of every class that I've taken in college, you always do an intro of yourself, and it's always, what's your name, where are you from, what are you majoring in, where do you work, and tell us something unique about yourself. So most of the time I say that I help co-host a podcast with my brother. And usually people just leave that alone. This time somebody was like, "Oh, really? I love podcasts. What kind of podcast?" And I'm just like, "No, nope." I'm just like, it's
a terrible one,
incredibly politically incorrect, and I'm not going to mention it here in this setting. And my instructor just laughed. He's like, "Yeah, there's some things you like in your lives you like to keep separate." I'm like, "Exactly." And he's like, "Well, I was just like, let's just say I did say that we just bash on the news and stuff like that." And he's like, "Well, I don't know what side you swing, but I bet you Donald Trump never gets brought up." I was like, "Nope,
never gets brought up." No.
I was just like, "No, I'm not going there." Nope.
Thank you for that great, complete derailing of my story, Craig. I really appreciate it.
that can't. Well, I wouldn't remember it again until you brought up another fake Chinese name.
Well, this goes out to everybody in Craig Smolt's class. What is that? The class?
I don't remember.
Don't remember,
this one is a professional sales. The worst thing you could possibly think of.
Yeah.
No, that's not true. My other class, the worst thing you could possibly think of, which I'm going to talk about later.
Great. Looking forward to it. Stay tuned. Until then, a British geneticist is worried that that Ching Chong, the Chinese scientist responsible for the birth of genetically modified human twins, could face the death penalty for corruption and bribery charges. When Ching Chong went missing back in early December, we suspected, I'm just going to keep reading it as though that is his name.
I'm going to laugh over you every time.
We suspected big trouble ahead for the rogue scientist. But as Sarah Napton reports, a good, nice, wholesome Christian American name, Sarah Napton.
Why can't everybody have these names?
His predicament is even worse than we thought. The embattled scientist is reportedly living under armed guard at a state-owned apartment in Qingchang, China, according to geneticist Robin Lovell, badge of Francis Crick Institute in London, who now worries that he could face the death penalty for his indiscretions. Back in November 2018, Lovell badge organized the Second International Summit on Human Genome Editing at the University of Hong Kong. I can say that one. That's an okay one. Mostly because it sounds like a joke. Hong Kong and Ching Chong. Upon hearing rumors of Ching Chong's controversial work, Lovell Badge decided to invite the 34-year-old scientist and biotech entrepreneur to the summit in hopes of tempering his enthusiasm, or, as he told the Telegraph, to, quote, control his urges. What?
This is getting way weird. This is going from his desire to advance science to
controlling
his fetishes.
His urges. Yes. During the summit, he admitted to using the CRISPR Cas9 gene editing tool to modify human embryos that are now twin babies. The genetically modified humans, the world's first, are allegedly immune to HIV, owing to the deletion of the blah, 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 which could make the twin girls more vulnerable to influenza, among other known and unknown health problems. He said he was proud of the work when he spoke at the summit, despite accusations that the research was done prematurely. Is this going to get interesting? Does this sound like it's going to get interesting to you? You're muted, Craig. You're fired. One more time tonight.
Doesn't sound like it's going to go too much further than it already has. So I don't know.
Yeah, I like the headline more than anything, so we're going to stick with that.
Yeah, exactly. All right, fine. Keep going. Or not.
Nah, let's not. So welcome to the news. We're just going to be all over the map tonight.
So the guy has a fetish with manipulating genes and embryos. So did he do this in China then?
Don't know.
Because if not, I mean, it sounds like they invited him to China to curb his urges, and they found out that he did this for real in real life. Is this legal?
What?
I mean, are people allowed to genetically modify humans at this point? Because I know there was back 10, 15 years ago, there was laws being passed to like outlaw like cloning and stuff like that. And this is basically the same thing as cloning, but I don't understand what the difference between cloning and making test tube babies or what's it called? Where you mix it all together in like a blender and implant it into a woman's uterus.
Babies. Indeed, the Chinese government has been cracking down on endemic corruption throughout the country, including in scientific research. In early 2018, the government introduced new reforms, including the introduction of a list of offenders, the members of which could be barred from receiving grants or research positions, and in December, China announced that its controversial social credit system would be used to target rule-breaking scientists. So they're just cracking down on scientists, sounds like.
Well, if they're going against the wills of the government and doing things that the government says, no, you can't do this to, then I guess they have the right to crack down on it. I mean,
well,
there's probably there's probably other countries that are more okay with it, that he could probably travel abroad and fulfill his urges. But I guess then you wouldn't have all the tiny little child hands to work with the small genes and embryos.
That's how it works, I think. I think you're spot on there.
So.
Ching Chong, a trained physicist, had plenty of his own cash to fund the research, allowing him to hire the required lab technicians and IVF doctors to do the work, yes. Quote, I suppose this should probably be in offensively Chinese accent, but or maybe not. No, never mind. Here you have a physicist who owns little biology, or who knows little biology, is very rich, has a huge ego, wants to be the first at doing something that will change the world. Lovell Badge told the Telegraph. So, there's that.
I guess I don't really understand what he did wrong.
I don't know. It sounds like he's just breaking some rules and doing some stuff without proper paperwork. And he's just some rich guy who wants to play mad scientist for a little while and got in trouble for it.
I don't see anything wrong with a rich guy playing mad scientist. I mean, somebody's got to do it.
That's right. Who better than Ching Chong, world-renowned, rich Chinese, almost dead geneticist. Anyway, so we didn't do our typical opener of Craig, what are you drinking? What are you smoking here on the AntiNews?
I am really gonna disappoint you. I am only drinking coffee right now.
Lame.
Yes. As part of my New Year's resolution, I'm not drinking any alcohol for an entire year.
And I don't believe you for 1 second.
That's fair. No.
How long did that last?
Well, I haven't had alcohol since New Year's Eve, actually.
Oh.
But I had, not for New Year's resolutions, but I have kind of resumed keto for a little bit. Not because it's like, oh, it's New Year, I gotta. No, it's more because for the last 2 months I've done nothing but stuff my face with holiday food and stuff. So
it's easy to make it a New Year's resolution when you're not having like 3 gigantic meals every week for the holidays.
Right. It was more, I need to get my body back in line and not feel like an overstuffed blimp.
Yep.
For a couple weeks. I mean, literally, it'll last a couple weeks. It's not gonna go anything more than maybe this weekend, because I'm camping out in the freezing cold with my brother-in-law, and I know for a fact I'm gonna drink beer there. So it was just mainly New Year's Eve happened, and I ate way too much there, and it's just like, okay, I'm gonna cut out some of the sugar and carbs and stuff for a little while. So all that said, I haven't drank alcohol, even though you can have like whiskey and stuff. I just haven't really had the chance to or desire to in a couple days. And so
still working off that hangover, huh?
Yeah, exactly. I didn't actually. I had ate so much and got so full on New Year's Eve that I only drank like 2 small drinks, and I was really disappointed because I was just sitting there. I was like, I want to drink, but I'm so full. So
what did you do for New Year's?
Kind of disappointing. A friend of ours got a hotel in town. So we stayed in a hotel in town. The kids got to swim and stuff. The thing was, his whole family, it was supposed to be like several friends, but most of them bailed, and it ended up being him, his parents, his aunt, his cousin, and her boyfriend, which, oh my goodness, her boyfriend was the biggest like gamer nerd that you'll ever meet. And his two sons were like, if you were to take a 10-year-old version of him and then a 13-year-old version, it was just like images of him in his different parts of his life, because they looked exactly like him and acted exactly like him. It was just odd. And they were all like know-it-alls. Like we'd be talking about, for example, one of the teenage kid, I think it was right at the ball drop we watched on TV, and somebody was like, it's 2019. I was like, good. I was like, 2018 freaking sucked. I was like, 2018 was the worst. And he was like, no, 2018 wasn't worse than 2016. I was like, what are you talking about? 2018 was terrible. I was like, what was so bad about 2016? And I thought he was going to say like the election of Trump or something. He's like, well, 2016 was terrible for video gamers. I was like, who
Nobody
cares?
Nobody cares, buddy. 0 people care about what you have to say.
Well, then we were playing just a card game. It was similar to Cards Against Humanity. I can't think of what it was called. But the boyfriend was out playing
all
like
games
Mario.
Similar to Cards Against Humanity
Yeah,
now?
pretty much
every
now.
single game is
Every
that.
single adult game is. But
Here's a card, finish
which
the
is
sentence,
actually
make it funny.
which is an adult version of Apples to Apples is all that is.
Right.
So it's not even original in itself.
Yeah.
But while we were playing this card game, all the adults were. This guy was out with the children playing the Nintendo Switch, playing video games with little kids. And another thing that bothers me about this guy is when you're talking to him, you have to listen for it. So if you're talking, you won't really catch it. But if somebody else is talking, very lightly under his breath, he's going, literally like that much.
That's terrible.
I don't understand it. Right. So that was my New Year's. So
Fun times.
I just chose to stuff my face with food.
So you just got a hotel and ate food?
And swam.
Oh, cool.
And ate more food.
I'm drinking, which I just discovered this last week or earlier this. I don't know. Days have no meaning now since the holidays were in the middle of the week,
Right.
and I didn't go to church yesterday, so days have 0 meaning because I never leave my house. But I am drinking this Stone Ruination Double IPA 2.0. It is freaking delicious. The guy
Show me the bottle cover.
got a nice demon on it, so we're shills.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, the guy at the local market here in town, which you know as Mercer Market, referred Kayla to it, and good choice. Good choice, good sir. Anyway.
My vape choice for I got the Snow My Gush Blues by our sponsor, soon to be sponsor, fuckinvapors.com.
Right here. Yeah.
But currently, because I ran out of that and it was the holiday time and it took forever to ship, I went out and purchased. This is it's called, the company or the brand is called Rounds. I don't think that's the company name because they have rounds, squares, and triangles. Rounds is their fruit flavors. Squares is their like cookie flavors or pies and stuff. Then cones or triangles is like their ice cream flavors or cones. I think it's cones actually. And this is I thought it was weird sounding, but it sounded better than the rest of them. It was on sale, but it's blueberry mango, and it's actually freaking delicious.
Sounds good, and as exciting as this conversation really, really is, I promise, we're going to hit this intro and jump into some more news stories and let you guys know what's up. Before I forget, you can call in to the show if you're seeing me trying to awkwardly point down at the bottom of the screen, where our number is 309-716-3818. 0 people have been calling in lately. Thank you for that. I really appreciate it.
We're not live.
Yes, I know. But you can call in, and you don't have to be live, but you can call in and let us know what you think about what's going on here. You can let us know if there's a news story in the world that we haven't covered that you think that we should, then let us know. If you think that we talk way too long at the beginning about vape douchebag flavors and douchey IPA flavors, that's fine too. If you want to call in and let us know how much you hate Craig and want him to be fired, that is more than welcome. But we're going to jump into the intro and kick this thing off. All right, here we go. Maybe. Do it.
Now he should be fired.
My stream deck. And here we go.
All I ask is, if we have to give these bastards our lives, we give them hell before we do!
The tragedy of our day is the climate of fear in which we live.
Talking about the Salomon Brothers building collapsing.
But ask the congressman to withdraw that comment and tell us that he didn't really mean that.
Half the stuff is what I call activist
I don't know what I said. I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
The Bible commands that certain people be put to death.
These were possessing weapons of mass destruction. 9/11 attacks were carried out by Al-Qaeda.
Handle the truth.
I remember that with Matthew Rose. We are still here!
We have to say yes to social justice.
No, tomorrow.
It's a big club, and you ain't in it.
Well. Apparently my stream deck is not being cooperative this evening, so that should be fun. Oh well, we'll make do. Whatever. So Craig, did you hear about our favorite Democratic Supreme Court scarecrow that keeps getting propped up in order to keep the dream alive for the Democratic Party? Ruth Bader Ginsberg?
I haven't heard the latest since the last time we talked about her. I thought she was dead then.
Yeah, I don't wish death on anyone, but death is certainly, he's basically a roommate. He's hanging around lately with this fine woman, and
I was going to say, is Ruth Bader Ginsburg a he, and I didn't know it till now?
It just turns out that Ruth Bader Ginsburg came out as a transsexual, and he is now a man. And not really. Hashtag fake news. But no, she apparently missed a Supreme Court argument for the first time ever because of her trying to, she's in the process of recovering from 2 cancerous growths from her left lung that we reported on recently.
I thought you were going to say she had a brain tumor, because that seems to be the way people are going these days in the high.
The real question is, how long do they let her just, like, stick this out and hope that she will vote in the way that they want her to? Like, if she starts to lose her mind, do we go, like, full-blown Stephen Hawking and just wheel her in and make her type it out on a keyboard, supposedly?
Or type it out. You mean type it out for her, yes. The woman is 85 years of age. 85 years young.
Yeah.
Do you want to still be in the high public eye or anybody's eye when you are 85 years old?
No.
85.
No, I don't want to be alive at that age, let alone having little ginger shill douchebags complain about me on the internet because I still am important. Like, I can only imagine, what is your life when you're 85 years old and you're barely alive, just trying to hang on so you can cast that vote, and then you miss for the first time? What must be going through your feeble mind?
Well, she hit, I just read, she hit the Supreme Court at the age of 60. It's just like, I don't want to be at the highlight of my career at 60 years old. It's just like, that's when you're like counting down the days to retirement.
Exactly.
Like, I got 5 years, 7 years left, or whatever the age is now. It's probably like 92 now. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's probably why she's like, well, I can't legally retire for another 6 years, so I'm just going to hold out for that pension.
Yeah.
So,
she's holding on to dear life, and God bless her. Keep the dream alive.
She missed it. She's recovering, or she's like currently hospitalized?
She's, I believe it said she's at home and recovering. She's just going to be there to vote and make her argument, half asleep.
So does she get to proxy vote then? Did they get to like go there and have her?
I don't believe so.
Write it down.
I don't believe so, which should be the case. If you're not well enough to get there, then you're probably not well enough to make decisions either. So that's my real question. At what point do we say your brain isn't firing on all cylinders and you probably shouldn't be making some of the biggest decisions in our country?
Well, freaking John McCain was still writing in proxy votes when his brain was literally eating itself for the last couple weeks. I think he made his last proxy vote a couple weeks before he died. So
yeah, it says she already has hired clerks for the term that extends into 2020, indicating she has no plans to retire. If she did step down, President Donald Trump would. But we know that. Trump tweeted he wishes for Ginsburg full and speedy recovery. Sure, he does. But
she's not gonna make it. She's not gonna make it to 2020. If she does, I'm gonna start questioning a lot of things.
It would be impressive.
More than I already do.
But she. I don't remember what I was going to say.
Oh, all right.
Yep.
So, speaking of that, like along the same lines, did you hear, I think it was Ted Cruz is proposing a law to put term limits on congressmen?
No. Do tell.
Yeah, I'm going to have to search this one out because I didn't actually have a story.
Bringing up stories that you didn't pull up.
Well, we were talking about her hanging out for dear life, and yeah, this popped up literally the 2nd of January. He's like, you know what we should do? We should do this, which is actually probably the smartest thing I've heard come out of his mouth, even though it probably wasn't out of his mouth. It says Ted Cruz introduced a term limit bill. It was probably written by somebody else, and he's just like, yes, I like this. That's my best Ted Cruz impersonation. Ted Cruz proposed the bill. Ted Cruz introduced a term limit bill that would end his own career in the Senate. Oh, no. That's bad. Says Republican Senator Ted Cruz introduced a constitutional amendment Friday that would restrict senators to 2 6-year terms. I wholeheartedly stand by this decision, personally.
I agree.
If it's passed, it would limit Cruz's Senate career to its current term. The amendment would also limit members of the House of Representatives to 3 2-year terms. So that would be, if you do the math, that would be 6. A total of 6 years. So the House of Representatives gets less time, much less time, because senators get 2 6-year terms. So they get 12 total for you math geniuses out there. So gone are the days of junior senators, because basically in your second term, you're no longer a junior senator at this point, because you're not like on your 18th term, like a lot of them are these days. It says it's co-sponsored by Republican Senators Marco Rubio, Mike Lee, and David Perdue. Maybe I don't like it because some of those names on there
I just disagree because they said it.
Yes.
Did Trump pass it? If so, then I hate it.
Right. Cruz began his second consecutive term in the U.S. Senate just now, after winning re-election in November 2018 over Democratic candidate Beto O'Rourke, my hero. He's set to end his term in 2025. Yes, that's how 6-year terms work. Thank you. Currently, terms in both
They're really looking for more words to fill this story.
Right. They had a word limit they had to meet. That's what I do on my college papers. I just put in filler words.
And then I told them it will be 6 plus 6 more years, which is 12 more years.
Currently, terms in both houses of Congress are unlimited, although there are limits to the number of terms members of Congress may have on committees. Okay, that makes sense. Cruz has been a long-time critic of the Constitution, not including term limits. He introduced a similar bill a year ago, according to ABC News. For too long, I don't know if that's how, I can't remember what he sounds like, but it sounds about like him. Members of Congress have abused their power and ignored the will of the American people. Term limits on members of Congress offer a solution to the brokenness we see in D.C. It is long past time for Congress to hold itself accountable. I urge my colleagues to submit this constitutional amendment to the states for speedy ratification. My question is, what's his ulterior motive? Is there like these big wigs coming up that are like opposing him or opposing his party, and he think it'd probably be for the good of the party to just like
I don't know.
Take one for the team.
But I am always for term limits and all that fun stuff.
I agree.
My only issue with the idea of term limits is that, well, I suppose it doesn't really matter, but I feel like no, my argument isn't valid. I just solved my problem in my head. So carry on.
Okay. Do you want to do that like out loud so we can hear it?
No.
Okay.
The best part
Just gonna
about
make you
audio
sound more
podcasts
stupid.
is internal monologues that I have with myself.
Nope. Yeah. Nope. I figured
Agreed.
it out.
Yeah.
Never
So
mind.
you should go back and listen to last week's episode. I'm sure there was a lot of them.
So yeah, that just where you're talking about Ruth Bader Ginsburg and how long she's hanging on for dear life to her career.
Mm-hmm.
I think this can only. I can't say only. This can most likely only be a good thing for everyone because this will get some of these old hags out of freaking Congress and
Supposedly.
get some.
We'll just swap them out with new hags.
Well, that or we'll swap them out with a bunch of Ocasio-Cortezes of the world. And
did you see that Babylon Bee article I just posted earlier?
No.
It was one of my favorites. Which Babylon Bee is crushing it lately. I love that they're not shying away from taking a side in politics because it's freaking hilarious.
No, of course.
But the headline is, it has a picture of Ocasio-Cortez and it says, quote, "It is more important to be morally right than factually correct," says woman who is neither.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
So I do have an article on her. We might as well just jump into that.
Go for it.
This is on Fox News, so obviously it's very one-sided. However, first of all, I want to point out, have you noticed a change at all in Ocasio-Cortez's appearance since she was elected?
Yeah, I have noticed that she's trying to look like a young Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Right.
She like pulls her hair back and wears glasses.
Has she not gone from like a 20-something-year-old looking to like a 60-some-year-old looking with her giant glasses and her thin pulled back?
It's like she
bun?
was going for, I'm the young hip kid, get me in here, and then she gets in there and she's like, I am distinguished in smart things.
Here's my take on it. It's like, we need to get rid of all these old hags and get some young, hip, new ideas in here. And then she gets in and she's like, I'm one of the old hags now.
Right.
Like, aren't you going against everything that your platform was against? You're just becoming one of them. Anyway, so this story is apparently there's a video out from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's college days where it's just a YouTube video of her dancing to a scene from The Breakfast Club, I guess. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, nothing bad about it. She was in college. She's just dancing to a song. Mm-hmm. So this video
Fox is
has
outraged.
been no, not at all, actually.
Really? Okay.
This video has come out on a couple different times, but apparently it resurfaced recently, and liberal media is claiming that conservatives are outraged about it, but it's not true. 100% inaccurate. Fox News says Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez dance video spurs false media claims of conservative outrage.
Is there any like sources showing people outraged? Like,
well, that's the thing.
Any news articles saying we are outraged by this or anything?
No, well, it was a Twitter video. Here, I'll just read it because it touches on some of that, and it's kind of interesting. It says an old video of now Representative, that long name I'm not going to read again,
Nina Pinta Santa Maria,
playfully recreating a dance scene from The Breakfast Club, was resurfaced anonymously on Twitter last week, resulting in a slew of misleading stories claiming conservatives were outraged over it, despite virtually no supporting evidence. In 2010, footage of Ocasio-Cortez dancing comes from her days at Boston University. It went viral for sure, but the New York Times, is it for sure though? I mean, did they have to add that in there?
Totes went viral,
for sure.
bro.
But the New York Times, GQ, Newsweek, and Ocasio-Cortez, among others, were quick to falsely claim that conservatives were somehow upset by the harmless video. It caused this is a quote by, I don't know, it doesn't say. It's just a quote. Oh, Media Research Center's Clay Waters wrote,
People are saying.
Clay Waters wrote, it caused a social media stir with the mainstream media and liberals lining up to cheer it and condemn conservatives for being offended by it. The only problem, conservatives were not actually offended by it, he wrote. The Times published a story headlined, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez dancing video was meant as a smear, but it backfired. It doesn't feature a single example of anyone being offended, with the exception of an anonymous Twitter account that first drew attention to the video, saying it showed America's favorite commie know-it-all acting like the clueless nitwit that she is. So somebody anonymously posted this and posted this like bashing comment, and then apparently nobody else made any critical comments on it.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
Says, however,
typical outrage.
Times managed to find examples of Ocasio-Cortez supporters condemning conservatives for being critical of the video. So there's plenty of people being critical of people being critical, but there's nobody actually being critical. Waters called it the latest.
So there's outrage about fake outrage.
Yeah. Well, there's fake. Yes, sure. What you said. Waters called it the latest knee-jerk liberal mockery of conservatives who stand accused on absolutely no evidence of being offended by something. Says, if you want to look up the very definition of fake news, look no further than the faux controversy over AOC. We're going to start calling her AOC dancing video. Literally every single conservative I saw comment on the video said it actually made her more likable, and yet our shameless mainstream media spends days pushing the narrative that conservatives attacked her. Says, must be nice being a liberal, blah, blah, blah. Perhaps the most overblown example was published by Newsweek, which wrote, conservatives mock Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez for college dancing video. Everyone else thinks it's adorable. While not citing any conservatives, beyond the original anonymous Twitter account, media watchdogs pounced on Newsweek for the misleading headline.
Lovely.
Just like,
big.
If we can't have outrage, we'll make up outrage. If people aren't pissed off at something, we're going to make up that people are pissed off at something.
And that's what we've been saying all along. And we're probably guilty of it too, because we just read what other people are saying. But the whole fake outrage culture is just freaking retarded. And it just keeps going in this spiral of people are outraged. No, they're not. And I'm outraged that you would say that. No, you're not. I'm outraged that you would think that they didn't. It's just like on and on. Who cares? Who cares at all?
Is anybody actually really outraged?
No, nobody is outraged about anything right now. Everybody is perfectly calm and fine, and we just need news stories about something. So we'll say, hey, there was a video of a person dancing, and people are outraged or something. I don't know. It's been a slow week.
Apparently. Yeah, it just drives me nuts because there are lots of people out there that's just like, man, we're outraged that they were outraged, and then there are people that glom onto them. They're like, yeah, I can't believe they said that. There's no evidence to back it up on either side, usually.
Yes, and I refuse to give this outrage any more notice or any more credibility.
It pisses me off.
Yes, it outrages me. So moving along, and I hate that we've done mostly political crap this week so far. And that's a lot of what I have, because it was a pretty slow news week for the most part. But according to what?
Okay, go on. I got some not political stuff that you might find interesting. But we'll get there.
We'll divert away from this nonsense after this one, which won't take too long. But according to CNN.com, so you know it's super legit, Pence says White House is looking into Trump's ability to declare border an emergency. Vice President Mike Pence said Monday that the White House Counsel, that's today, by the way, probably 2 days ago when you're listening to this, but said Monday that the White House Counsel is looking at the president's ability to declare a national emergency to fund border security, something President Donald Trump has reportedly said he is considering as partial government shutdown negotiations have reached their third week at a virtual stalemate. asked to explain how thoroughly the White House counsel's office has reviewed the possibility of an emergency declaration, Pence said it is something they have examined, but the administration would prefer to solve the problem of border security funding through Congress. Quote, I can't do a Mike Pence. What I am aware of is their large, probably because I've rarely ever heard the man speak.
I couldn't even, like, if I heard him on the radio, I would have no idea that it was Mike Pence.
He has a very forgettable voice, just like his face and everything about him. But
what does he look like?
Just imagine a tall glass of milk. What I'm aware of is they're looking at it, and the president is considering it. Pence told, wow, that is quite a statement. I'm glad we got that quote. What I'm aware of is they're looking at it, and the president is considering it, Pence told reporters during an hour-long briefing alongside Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen and Office of Management and Budget Acting Director Russell Vought, whatever. Quote, there's no reason in the world why the Congress shouldn't be able to roll its sleeves up and work together to find a principled compromise to address what is a real crisis at our southern border, Pence added. The trio repeatedly used the word crisis to describe the state of the U.S.-Mexico border as they made the administration's case for $5.7 billion in border security funding. Democrats have refused to support the spending, and Trump has refused to sign legislation reopening the government without it. Quote, all I know is it's something they've, the United States Counsel's Office, looked at. They've examined, Pence said. There's no reason in the world why we shouldn't be able to solve this through the regular legislative process. I feel like we're reusing these quotes now. Isn't that the same thing I just quoted a second ago?
Maybe he repeated himself.
To reiterate, I would like to repeat what I just said. Trump declared Monday morning that there was no, quote, no doubt he had the authority to declare an emergency, but let's get our deal.
The only quote was the no doubt part?
Yes. But let's get our deal done in Congress. Blah, 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 blah. I haven't done it. I haven't done it. I may do it, Trump said. We can call a national emergency and build it very quickly. So, yeah, Trump's just swinging his big old wall dick around. And
mushroom head.
Yeah, and it's all just...
Did you hear how...
There's a part of me that wants to think that he actually cares about the security. There's another part of me that thinks that this is just like his desperate grasp at, hey, we got to build this thing so that I can get reelected in 2020 because that's one of the main things that I ran on, and they're going to use it against me. If we don't get on this now, it's going to take at least 2 years for us to get cracking. So
pretty much
get it going.
Well, it's kind of like Obama during his presidency. He made all these promises during his campaign, and none of them came to fruition really until his second term, like the healthcare bill and stuff like that. However, he had the advantage of supposedly taking out Osama bin Laden, so that was his big claim to fame months before the re-election campaign. So he's just like, well, none of this is happening, so let's just kill an imaginary boogeyman. Right. Or really kill this guy. I don't know. Whatever your stance is on it. But did you hear, I think it was right around New Year's, Trump made the claim that he's going to keep the government shut down as long as possible. It could be months. It could be years. Like, how's that going to work out? How's that going to work out for you or anybody?
Yeah. All right.
I mean, if we can make it years without the government running, are we going to come to the realization, do we even need a federal government?
It's like that episode of The Office where they are without a boss for like a week, and then they're like, everything's running smoothly, and we realized we don't need a boss, actually.
Yeah. So, on that note, one more political thing.
I also have another
because you're going to find
thing.
This incredibly humorous. So, I think we talked about, or we may or may not have talked about, General Mattis stepping down as the SecDef.
We did.
Secretary of Defense, right after Trump decided to pull out of Syria.
Uh-huh.
Did we talk about that?
We did.
I think we did. So they announced his incumbent Secretary of Defense, his successor. And I'm going to show you a picture of this, even though most people won't be able to see it, but you will be able to see it.
I'll be able to see it, and you might freeze up everything and ruin everything.
Nope.
But cool.
You have to see this. Tell me, first person that comes to mind when you see this person, because you're going to like it.
Waiting.
Can you see me?
Oh, Lord. That's Toby from The Office.
So this post,
and apparently you can screen share because it just worked properly in our feed. So
this posted a couple days ago, and the comments were flooded with, "That's the Scranton Strangler," or "How did they get Toby Flanagan from The Office?"
Toby Flenderson.
Flenderson, whatever his name is, I don't know. But, you were talking about The Office, and that instantly reminded me of this. And
nice.
I'm so glad that you had the first impression that everybody else had on this guy.
And that's my first time seeing him too.
They're like, "How do you go from General Mattis to Toby Flenderson,"
right.
or whatever his name is? It was just all the. I'd have to find the Twitter post, and I'll end up posting it to our forum or something, so you can see all the different comments. It's so freaking hilarious.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is who we have as our new incoming Secretary.
I like it. That's who we need. We need a Toby Flenderson type for our Secretary of Defense. It seems like a great idea. Speaking of Syria, I'm going to breeze through this one, but this is from Slate.com, so you know it's legit. Are we actually getting out of Syria? The president keeps contradicting his advisors and himself. Halfway into... Yeah. Surprise, surprise. Halfway into Donald Trump's term as president, it is less clear than ever who speaks for American foreign policy, or even the most basic level of what the policy is. The latest mishmash over Syria is but the most colorful case in point. Over the weekend, National Security Advisor John Bolton assured Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu that U.S. troops will remain in Syria until ISIS is vanquished. Turkey guarantees it won't attack the Syrian Kurds, and Iran removes its own military forces from the country. And in other words, according to Bolton, we're going to stay in Syria for quite a while. This, of course, completely contradicts Trump's tweet from just over 2 weeks ago, boasting, "We have defeated ISIS in Syria," and pegging that mission as my only reason for being there during the Trump presidency. The implication, which he soon made explicit, was that he would bring home the 2,000 U.S. troops in Syria as soon as possible, and a declaration that triggered resignations in protest by Secretary of Defense James Mattis and anti-ISIS envoy Brett McGurk. Trump also said just last week that the Iranians in Syria can frankly do whatever they want there. So, who knows?
So Trump says we defeated ISIS, we're pulling out of Syria, and then this other guy that you brought up, I can't even remember who at this point, says, well, we're not leaving Syria because we're not going to pull out until we defeat ISIS. What?
Yep. So
is ISIS defeated? Are they not defeated? Are the troops coming home? Are they staying?
Well, saying ISIS is defeated was kind of a stupid thing to say. Anyway, I mean, what does that even mean? I mean, sure, maybe they are at bay, and they're... Well, it's not like, I mean, ISIS is an idea. It's not really just a group of people. So there will be more people.
Didn't George Bush preemptively say we beat the Taliban? Yeah. Like weeks after we went there, and
we're still there.
What time did we get? What year did we get out of Afghanistan?
Right. Exactly.
And then I think
probably 2057.
I think Obama said that we defeated the Taliban at some point too.
Yeah, mission accomplished.
And we pulled out of there. When did we pull out of there?
2057.
Wait. Okay. So yeah, I don't think we're probably going anywhere anytime soon in any of those countries.
I have hopes, but
I don't mean you countries like
breath.
You people, but
I do.
Those countries. Yeah, I don't have any hopes of us ever, or I do have hopes. I don't have any thought that we'll ever get out of there. No, yeah. I don't hope for a second that we ever pull troops out of those countries until they are the United States of America.
I mean, there are definitely some people that wouldn't take that as a joke, and some people that would agree with you wholeheartedly. But Let's get away from politics as far as we possibly can. Actually, before we do that, let's go ahead and say the thank you to our wonderful sponsors, the members of the Downers Club, and we'll wrap up with some more fun, lighthearted conversations, I'm sure, about more interesting things than politics in the world. But
cool.
The names on this list, if you are watching on YouTube, are the lovely people who give their hard-earned and much-appreciated dollars to the show to be a part of something greater than themselves and help keep the show getting bigger and better, more beautiful. And, you know, maybe if they keep it up and keep proving their loyalty, they will convince me to #fire Craig. Let's all hold our breath. The likelihood of Craig getting fired is about as likely as us getting out of Syria. So when we pull out of Syria for real, Craig will be fired. That will be your last episode.
The likelihood of me getting fired is about as likely as you getting a stable internet connection.
Hey, my internet has been going wonderfully.
It was just cutting out as you were saying that.
Actually, I think that was yours. I checked mine before we got on here, and It was going swimming.
Nope.
All right, cool. Well, thank you, Cable Guy. But this is all the members of the Downers Club. Thank you guys for supporting, and stick around for some more fun stuff afterwards. Let's see if this intermission actually plays. That's the wrong button. Let's see. Okay, here we go.
Hey, this is Brett Glyer from Donorcy, and you are watching AntiNews Live.
Hi, this is Ole Dammerwood from Light on Conspiracies, and you are watching AntiNews Live.
Hey, this is Brian McWilliams from Electric Liberty Land on the Lines of Liberty. You're watching AntiNews Live along with my lazy dog Hank here, who diarrheaed all over that couch. That's why that blanket's there. Enjoy!
And now it's time for that part of the show where we give a big thank you and a shout out to all the beautiful men and women who support this show with their hard-earned and much-appreciated dollars. We could not do this without you. If you would like to increase the value of your life and get your name on this list, just go to patreon.com/thesystemisdown and join the Downers Club.
I'm done, I'm pissed, and I'm not putting up with it anymore. You Satanists want to sacrifice the West. You want to kill the beautiful goddess that is the West. You people are enemies, and we're going to get your asses, and we know what you're up to, and we're coming for you. So I've had enough of these people. Okay, so I've been containing this for the last week. That's why I've been in here sweating, getting pissed, because I can't handle it anymore.
Hey, this is Toby from Bad Christian, and you're watching AntiNews. Hey, this is Toby from Bad Christian, and you're watching AntiNews.
Hello, everyone. I'm Lucas from the 29 Toes podcast, and you're watching the AntiNews Live. Fun fact, do you know anything that you drink out of this mug tastes 50% better? You should give it a try. Enjoy the show.
All right. Again, to everyone, thank you for your support, your listenership, and your undying love for this wonderful, beautifully crafted program that we have put together here for you. And I hope you enjoy it as much as I clearly do, and you can tell by the enthusiasm in my voice. But let's wrap this up with a few not political and definitely politically incorrect news stories. Craig, what do you have?
Well, this one, I mean, do you remember there used to be this family that constantly liked to be in the spotlight all the time?
The Kardashians.
To the point where the stepdad decided to cut his own junk off and get breast implants.
As stepdads do.
Yes. I mean, what wouldn't you do for your stepchildren? Or to overshadow your stepchildren.
And this is something that I agree with Joe Rogan on. I think that what really happened there is he was living with the Kardashians, and they were like...
wholeheartedly agree with whatever you're about to say.
They were just like hovering over him like, become one of us. Like whispering in his ear at night, and eventually he just went insane and went for it.
Yes. So, Kendall Jenner, one of the Kardashians, her last name's Jenner, but she is a Kardashian, no less. She just made an announcement, a big reveal.
She's a man?
On Twitter. So this is interesting to me because...
Please tell me she's a man.
there's a lot of outrage over her big reveal.
Please tell me she's a man.
All right, so I'm not even going to read the headline. The headline is there's
okay.
No, Twitter is livid over her big reveal. It says, over the weekend, Kris Jenner which is the mom, shared a cryptic video.
Changed her name to Chris.
Kris Jenner shared a cryptic video of her daughter, Kendall Jenner, on Instagram, stating that the 22-year-old model would be sharing her most raw story on Twitter on Sunday evening, and that we should be prepared to be moved.
I'm prepared.
She says, I'm so proud of my darling Kendall for being so brave and vulnerable. Seeing you share your most raw story in order to make a positive impact for so many people and help foster a positive dialogue is a testament to the incredible woman you've become. Make sure to watch Kendall's Twitter on Sunday night to find out what I'm talking about and be prepared to be moved. This sounds big, does it not?
Sounds big. I'm at a loss for words here, just mentally preparing myself for this.
I know. So in the video, Kendall states, when I was 14, I couldn't reach as many people as I can now. Now that I'm 22, I have this whole thing behind me. This whole thing behind me, I can speak to so many people and just be like, I can help you. And it's okay. I experienced it. I'm very normal and I understand you. I can connect with you. I'm going to try and help. Is that not?
I love when ditzy people get their words written down in text.
Right. Theories had circulated online immediately after Kris' announcement. Some fans speculated that Kendall would be opening up about her sexuality or her anxiety. So people said bulimia, anorexia, molested, or any illness she has or is in the process of overcoming. I don't think it has to do with her sexuality at all, somebody had said. But before the 2019 Golden Globes, I almost said Golden Globes. The world finally found out Kendall's most, quote-unquote, most raw story, and it was not at all what anyone expected. Kendall is the new face of Proactive, a brand of skincare products. In the ad, Kendall recalls attending the 2018 Global Golden Globes and getting trolled for her chin acne.
Who cares?
This is the world that the made up reality that they live in, that she has endured this real situation.
Wasn't Adam Levine on Proactive commercials a while back?
Probably, but he probably didn't build it up this is me. I'm going to come out as what I really am, and I can speak to so many people about
the new civil rights movement. Acne shame.
I can understand you, I can connect with you, and I'm going to try to help. It's all
I'm speaking out against all these acne-phobes and acne-phobia.
So she says, went through the night, felt great. Then I remember going online and seeing all the horrible things people were saying about me and my skin. If you have acne, there's a feeling that you'll never get out of it. But there definitely is an ending, and there definitely is a solution for you.
Oh, my God. She's making it sound like it's freaking, crippling depression. And she's talking about zits.
Exactly. Well, that's what they were speculating. She has anxiety or some, mental disorder. Or
she's such a brave woman.
Or something. For me, I can honestly say that the magic was Proactive. It's a huge deal that I'm partnering with Proactive.
Yeah, it's a huge deal because of that massive paycheck you just got for playing this out to be some gigantic struggle that you're dealing with.
She goes on to say, it's literally life-changing. That's why I'm here. I'm here to help change lives. Is that what your life has come to?
Good Lord.
You have nothing
going for you. I thought your dad was dumb.
So, fans didn't seem to agree as they shared on Twitter.
No.
So these are some of
it's
the
totally
comments.
A marketing campaign, making it seem like this big played-out deal.
Right. So these are some of the quotes of fans or non-fans. So somebody says, that's your huge secret, having acne? Somebody says, can we all take a moment to thank God Kendall Jenner found the strength to admit she has acne? How much must one family bear? And then somebody says Kendall Jenner's big announcement is that she had pimples, but doesn't anymore because she uses Proactive.
It's beautiful.
So Kendall Jenner's announcement was a commercial for acne treatment. I have to scream, all in caps. So she literally was screaming. Yeah, somebody says Kendall Jenner's big announcement is that she's collaborating with Proactive LMFA.
Laughing my fucking ass. Oof.
Frank Acosta. Yeah, so that is it. I mean, great job on your marketing campaign. Great job getting people to watch your stupid bullshit. Because I'm sure millions tuned in to see what was going on with Kendall Jenner because they hadn't heard from the Kardashians in a while. They're like, oh my gosh, something's going on with the Kardashians. We should tune in and find out.
Well, did you hear about Kim Kardashian?
Good.
She did a same play.
No, but
she said, you know, I'm going to come out and reveal some big news, and it's very brave, and it's going to be hard for me. She came out and said, my gigantic ass has hemorrhoids, and it's a real problem that people deal with in the world, and we need to bring more hemorrhoid awareness to the nation so people are more accepting of hemorrhoidal sexuals.
I mean,
hemorrhoidal sexuals. I mean, I feel like that deserves at least a chuckle. Come on. Thank you.
Gross. From the perspective of the marketing people there, good job if your sole job was clickbait, to get people to come view this article. If it was to get people to buy the product, you might have backfired there, but maybe not. Maybe people love her so much that they're like, oh, if it worked for Kendall, it's going to work for me.
I'm sure there's a gigantic amount of teenage girls out there who are eating the shit up, and they're like, I understand you. I'm going through this hardship.
No, it's not I understand you. It's Kendall understands me.
Right.
That's more like what it is. She's a real human.
Right. Ugh, God.
So gross. Why are they still even a thing? Why do they even still exist? Why can't they just disappear the way they appeared out of nowhere?
Yeah, I have no problem with them staying. Just don't be retarded while you're there. Just stop applauding celebrities for celebrity status. You are literally applauding a woman for having zits and being brave enough to admit that she has zits. Like we didn't know. Like anybody cares.
They became celebrities because of celebrity status. Nothing besides Kim Kardashian's sex tape. Really,
and
nothing.
O.J. Simpson being part of the family.
Yeah, but nobody who follows Caitlyn Jenner, Kendall Jenner, or Kim Kardashian, none of them are probably old enough to really remember anything about the O.J. Simpson trial, minus their parents saying, oh my gosh, O.J. Simpson killed somebody, because that's all I really remember about it.
Right.
And that he got off, and I remember something about a glove until I looked into it in my older ages.
Right.
But yeah, so none of them really are like, oh my gosh, that's the guy. Their dad was O.J. Simpson's lawyer. No, none of them. They're just literally celebrities because of celebrity status. They just the first like reality family that came into existence, and that's how they got huge. They were just a bunch of rich people that were like, you know what? Our lives are so dumb and pointless. We should put this on camera.
People will watch this for 16 seasons. I love Kanye West, though. Anyway, actually, speaking of Kanye West came out and said that he's supporting Trump again. Did you hear about that?
Why?
Why?
Like, what changed this time?
I don't know. Let me look it up real quick. If you got another story before that, we can do yours, and then we'll talk about Kanye for a second, and then we'll get out of here. You're muted. You are muted, and you are fired.
I unmuted myself, and then when I went to talk, I muted myself, because it's the same button. So I thought I unmuted myself when in reality I was already unmuted. So apparently this isn't as lighthearted and happy, but it's not political, so we'll go with it. Apparently SpaceX is working on a demo flight in a month, and Elon Musk is saying that it will be especially dangerous. Does that sound problematic? I mean, it's 2019. Can we say that word without outrage being connected, or are we still not?
I was totally listening, but what'd you just say? Because I was looking up Kanye West.
So SpaceX is about to demo a flight in a month, and Elon Musk, who is he still currently head of SpaceX, or did he step down from that too?
I'm not sure. I think he's in rehab for his one puff of weed.
Right. So Elon Musk is claiming that the soon to come month away SpaceX demo flight is possibly especially dangerous.
Well, duh.
Well, most blasting rockets, explosive rockets into space is dangerous, but for some reason he is commenting that this is going to be more dangerous.
Why?
I don't know exactly.
Tell me.
SpaceX is about a month away from launching its first commercial crew mission. So there's going to be people aboard.
Right.
And it's going to be especially dangerous. The company's founder, Elon Musk, tweeted this weekend.
Is it like a moon launch, or is it just like a circle the Earth launch?
Probably just to get them out. It's a demo launch, so it's probably just to get them out there. This will be a demonstration flight without humans on board. Come on. Stop. It's not
first commercial flight without humans.
No, it's not a commercial crew mission if there's no crew aboard. So officially, NASA has been holding to a January 17th launch date, but that has become untenable due to ongoing work to resolve technical issues, two sources say, as well as partial government shutdown. More than 90% of the space agency's employees are presently furloughed during the shutdown. So the space agency is NASA's employees are furloughed, or SpaceX's?
I don't know.
Because SpaceX is not a government entity.
Well,
supposedly.
They're getting government funding and everything, which means that we can't trust them either. But
it's affecting the agency's ability to find final approvals of the launch. So I guess it's their launch pad and all that stuff. So they can't approve it because they don't have anybody there to say, yes, go for it. Some key government officials are continuing to work on the program without pay. It's a critical flight. They have not mentioned once where he says it's dangerous yet. Okay, here we go. Says success with this uncrewed demonstration flight would put SpaceX on track toward becoming the first private company to launch humans into space. For NASA, it would return the capability to put its own astronauts into orbit, as well as weapons, and aboard the International Space Station. It is also a risky mission, as the rocket and spacecraft have never flown together before in this configuration. Yes, that would have never been tested, so yes, it could be.
It's going to blow up.
Musk himself made this clear in response to a question about the countdown for this flight, replying, "Yes, will be extremely intense. Early flights are especially dangerous as there's a lot of new hardware." This is a big nothing burger.
Why is it dangerous if nobody's going to be on board?
Because the rocket could crash down on people, maybe.
Okay.
It says risk is inherent. One former space shuttle programmer manager, space shuttle program manager, that's a long title, who led the program after the Space Shuttle Columbia disaster, told Arse in an email. Is that really the
best,
the news source?
Yeah, best name you could come up with?
That Musk is just stating the obvious. First flights of new space vehicles carry inherent risk. Test is better, but has limitations too. It is never possible to test entire integrated system in complete flight. This is. I mean, the first paragraph sounded like there was something that was going to go wrong. Possibly. I thought so too, but it's just like, well, it's the first time we're doing it. Obviously, there's a risk.
Risky. Mm-hmm.
There's a giant article that says, yeah, the first time we do things, there's always the risk of things going wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Things could possibly be wrong.
Imagine the newspapers back when they built the first Model T Ford, and they're like, they wrote out this giant long article and had to print it in paper, and it was like just a 1,000-word essay on, well, this might not work. It might be dangerous. There are things that could go wrong with this thing that we don't know. Like, who cares? Who cares?
So here's the quote that sums up the whole article. And this says loads more than the rest of the article says. So Hale, the guy that I was just talking about, says, "I think it is impossible to fly a new vehicle without learning something significant that you did not expect." Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Second flights are only slightly less risky.
Okay.
Yep.
It's steep. Third flights are only slightly less risky.
This was like the last closing line. It's like, I think it's impossible to fly something new without something possibly happening that we didn't expect. And the second time could also be maybe a little less risky.
I think it's impossible to do something that we've never done before without learning that we can do something that we haven't done, or that we can't do that without further testing. Scientists.
Oh, but the bigger risk is staying home and not trying. But is it a bigger risk?
No.
Or is it less risk and just keep us in our little comfortable
100%
world?
less risk. I'm not saying that we shouldn't take that risk, but it's zero risk if we don't do it.
Unless these people know something we don't about the
unless
potential disasters.
Unless they're going out to kill the aliens or something.
Or
it's much bigger risk because they're going to kill us all.
To get us all off of the earth.
Right.
There's so much more risk by us not doing anything because the Earth's gonna explode in 2 years.
Right.
What? What I said was we gotta try.
What I said was literally nothing at all. Well, we'll wrap up on this. We're pushing an hour and 10, hour 15. So we'll wrap up with this comes from people.com, so People Magazine again. Kanye West voices his support for Donald Trump, explains one of his favorite things about MAGA hat. I think this is new. This is January 2nd. So the last I knew was just that he supported him again on Twitter. So we'll find out here. More than 2 months after Kanye West said that he was distancing himself from politics, the rapper rang in the new year with a political tweet spree. On Tuesday, West reaffirmed his unwavering support for Donald Trump and began his series of tweets with a simple message of loyalty to the president. Quote, Trump all day. That's all he put as the first one. He followed it up by tweeting 3 dragon emojis. West previously said that he and President Trump were, quote, both dragon energy. He is my brother, and clarified to his followers, just so in 2019 you know where I stand. West continued his political rant with 2 more tweets. They will not program me, he wrote. I like it. Blacks are 90% Democrats, he added. That sounded like, quote, that sounds like control to me. The rapper kept the tweets going, sending messages of unity to his followers, including love everyone and free thought. He then wrote, we will change the world. God is on my side. I am a Christian. I am a taxpayer. I am myself. God is with us. At one point, West tweeted 2024, possibly hinting at the prospect of his own run for the White House, something he's floated in the past. He finally wrapped up his rant with three. What?
He wrapped up his rant.
Yeah. He finally wrapped up his rant with 3 last tweets, making it clear yet again that he intended on supporting Trump throughout his presidency. Quote, from now on, I'm performing with my mother effing hat on, West wrote alongside 3 dragon emojis, referencing his Make America Great Again baseball cap, which he wears frequently. In his final tweet, West proudly wrote, one of my favorite of many things about what the Trump hat represents to me is that people can't tell me what to do because I'm black. The same thing as he said before. This is certainly not the first time that West has gone on a political rant about Trump. West called Trump my brother in a series of tweets in April. Yes, we know this. They're going to recap all the things that he did. Go down to the bottom here. My wife just called me and she wanted me to make this clear to everyone, he wrote. I don't agree with everything Trump does. I don't agree 100% with anyone but myself. Who cares? So his wife said, dude, just pump the brakes a little bit. Which I don't... There's a part of me that's like, yay, but I mean, your opinion changes with the wind. Are you going to change it again as soon as, Jay-Z comes out and says, dude, what are you doing, bro? Or TMZ. He's like, hey, man, you're offending us that you're supporting Trump.
Or did he go off his meds again? Did he? Did he
I'm
start
surprised they
taking
didn't take that route because that's what they pulled last time. But yeah, who cares? I mean, if you want to stick to it, I will be like, cool. And again, like I said before, not because I'm a Trump supporter necessarily. I'm not a Trump supporter necessarily. I'm a supporter of ideas and not people. But I like Kanye West, and I especially like him if he is willing to go against the mind control that he is speaking about and keep talking about it. But he almost literally said the exact same things as he said last time, almost verbatim. So it's hard to care that much because it wasn't anything new.
Less like insanity,
right,
in its like tone,
right.
Not so much like, this motherfucking guy is the best, and I love him, and I'm going to hug him on camera, and blah, blah, blah. It's just, he seems like he's, like you said, toning it back, pulling back a little bit, but still saying the same things, which would be great if he had just done this instead of completely backpedaling and then doing this, because then that'd be more believable. It's just like, okay.
Now we're just like, okay, whatever, who cares?
Yeah. Because he was just in your face Trump. If he would have just backed down to this level, it'd been like, oh, okay, that's respectable. He's not like completely flipping, changing his tone or changing his opinions. But instead, somewhere right in the middle of there, whether his Twitter got hacked or they put in I was going to say they put in a double Yeezy. A Yeezy stunt double, but for whatever reason he said all that wasn't true. I'm just not any of that, and y'all need to shut up. And then now it's back to, I'm gonna keep wearing my hat, guys, and screw y'all. Just
all right, fine.
Just
care.
Pick something. Yeah. Just pick something.
And if you're gonna come back out and say why you're going back again to this, and say something new. Say like, this is why I felt the need to pull back for a couple months, and this is why I'm back. Like, don't just be cryptic Kanye West about it and expect people to give a crap this time, because you're just, I mean, at some point we're just going to start thinking you're just going where the bread is. You like had people outraged and you liked that for a second, then you didn't like it because maybe numbers were a problem, and then you're like, hey, but bad press is better than no press, so let's get back out there. I don't know what the reason is, but if you want to come out and give a reason, I heard that, and I reported on this last week, that he's supposed to be going on the Joe Rogan show soon, which I will definitely be listening to, and of course Joe Rogan will be bringing this up. So there's that, and I will be anxiously awaiting to see what he pulls out of this. Craig, any final thoughts on anything that we've gone over today?
Oh, 2019 is kicking off with a bang. I had some good stories for last week, but I don't know what you covered, so I just didn't bring them up. But there seemed to be some pretty eventful things happening, like the 2nd of January. It's just like, oh my gosh, this is just not halting. Even at the turn of the year, we thought it was just going to stop, and apparently it didn't happen. But
I am happy to see that there really isn't that much. Like, I was looking at the news, I'm like, nothing sounds that interesting this week. So
this week, no. Last
no news
week
is good news, in my opinion.
Last week, I think in like 5 minutes, I pulled up like 8 headlines. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's just stuff to actually talk about. But
we can bring it up in the after party, and if I covered it last week, I'll just yell at you for not being there, and we'll go with that.
Sounds good. So yeah, it looks like there might be some change in politics, which would be okay, a lot of it, or some of it at least. We didn't mention that they are talking, obviously, about impeaching the motherfucker. Literally verbatim, that's what somebody said. I can't even think of who it was. Some woman was like, we're going to impeach the motherfucker. So people are outraged about that. But
just like Bill Clinton got impeached, right?
And it's great to see the Kardashians back in the limelight. Always great. Because they were actually being overshadowed by Kanye West, and they couldn't let that happen. So I'm glad the Jenners came out with their big family secrets of pimples.
Yeah, I just imagine she like came out for this video, and she had like a veil over her face, and then she just like lifts it back and goes, "Look how hideous I am, but I will be saved by whatever it's called. I don't remember. Proactive. I was going to say Prozac, but
yes, that's what she needed.
Sounds more like it. If your acne is that big of a deal, then you probably need Prozac more than you need Proactive. But Anyway, that's going to be it for this week, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and we're going to jump over and do a little bit of bonus for all y'all Downers Club members. If you're not familiar, we continue this party, cover a couple more stories, and things can sometimes get a little more wild and crazy and more offensive over behind the wall for the Downers. We also give, behind the scenes looks at things that are going on in the show, things that are going on in our lives, stuff like that. So if you want that, you can go over to patreon.com/thesystemsdown and sign up for the Downers Club for as little as a cup of coffee. That is $5 per month, and you will get weekly multiple bonus episodes of audio and video content, including the extended interview for this week's Monday episode, where I talked to Avi Loeb, a Harvard professor of science. I picked his brain about things like flat Earth, climate change, and the moon landing. So that's a good little nugget, and hopefully that intrigues you as much as it intrigued me. Thank you, Vodka, for giving me the courage to ask a Harvard science professor about flat Earth. But go check that out at patreon.com/thesystemsdown. Be sure to call in before next week, and we'll get you and your pretty voice on the air, 309-716-3818. And we will see you all next time. Until then, have fun, be bad, question everything, stay uncomfortable, all the taglines. Goodbye.
I don't get anything there.
If you want to go ahead and give it a little tagline, you're welcome to.
Stay saucy.
So here's my pledge to you. I will be a commander-in-chief that will have the back of the military. I won't trash talk. I won't be a divider-in-chief or an agitator-in-chief. I won't be out there blowharding, talking a big game without backing it up. I think the next president needs to be a lot quieter, but send a signal that we're prepared to act in the national security interests of this country, to get back in the business of creating a more peaceful world. Please clap.